This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? It's Paul Guarino. I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Corey Allison, a.k.a. Corey Jeppesen, a.k.a. SeeJepp. Corey, how's it going?
Good. What's up, man?
Nothing. Appreciate you coming on.
Average to Savage.
Yeah, for sure. Been trying to get you on for a while.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be on, man. We go way back.
Yeah, for sure. 7, 8 years, 9 years. I don't even know.
Yeah, but I remember your first logo, and you had it on the t-shirt going across. And who was the baseball player that ripped you that day?
Oh, Brandon Phillips?
No, it was older than that. It was an older guy.
Oh, Chuck Knobloch?
Yeah, do you remember?
Yeah. I think he was technically my very first pro athlete, but that was before I had the logo designed by you.
Yeah, I just think that was cool because you were doing it before, you even had a real brand foundation. You were just out there making it happen.
Yeah, I didn't even know I was doing that. So tell me a little bit about yourself. And you grew up in Idaho, right?
Yes, I was born in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and it's spelled really funny, but Coeur d'Alene it's in the Panhandle, it's in the north, so we don't grow any potatoes or anything. It's more or less like Washington, very evergreen mountain ranges, stuff like that. And Coeur d'Alene's a resort town, so we get like a lot of celebrities will come up here to escape the grind and stuff like that, and they'll like have houses up here. And so that's where I'm from, and that's where I'm born. It's a pretty cool place. And now I'm currently living in Spokane, Washington, which is only about 30 to 32 miles. Actually, it's 32 miles. That's a weird range I just gave you, but it's 32 miles from Coeur d'Alene, and I live in downtown Spokane in the city.
Gotcha. How did you get into graphic design, like originally? Like maybe like, or were you did you grow up like painting or like drawing or anything?
Well, I did not grow up an artist or whatever. There was no special skill. I would say that I'm not a great artist at all. Even today, I'm not. But I got into graphic design because I enjoyed doing digital artwork for companies and small businesses and stuff. And I always did it kind of on the side. I learned to do design and video production and stuff like that as a production person in the year around 2011. What is it now?
2019.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, about 2000. That's crazy. 2011. Yeah, I learned it. I think maybe it was 2001. It's one of the ones. I just remember back then. I just kind of started learning it a little bit, and I enjoyed it and started doing some freelance work for different businesses, churches, stuff like that. But I had never really made it a career. I always kind of had sales jobs, entrepreneurial jobs, trying to make my money and trying to make it work. And then one day I moved to Florida, and then I was in Florida trying to grind over there. And we were already working together in Florida. Actually, I think that's where we started, you and I. Mm-hmm, yeah. And then I decided at that point I was going to move back to my hometown of Coeur d'Alene, go to school. Went to school, got a graphic design degree, graduated with a graphic design major. Worked at some agencies in Spokane, found out that I could do this. I could start an agency. And I see that because I had the entrepreneurial mindset and the idea of I'm kind of a risk taker. So if I have an idea and I think it's good enough, I'll try it. Even if it fails, I'll still want to do it. And so I did it. I stepped out. I did it. I had one paycheck from my previous job. Started kind of helping people and clients, small businesses with their branding, websites, stuff like that, videos. One by one, worked from coffee shops, got clients like you, offered to do their logos and brands, and reached out through social media and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. Started getting clients. Eventually got too busy where I needed to start hiring somebody, and I had to make a decision whether I was just going to cap it and just make my own money, or I was going to hire people. It kind of went so fast and the demand was so high that I started just hiring people that I knew, that I trusted. And now, current day, I went through one full rebrand of my company. We now employ 10 people full time. We have 2 offices, one in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and one in Spokane, Washington. And what we do is basically we're an advertising firm. So if basically you've seen Mad Men and you see how they do their job. That's how we kind of do our job. Our job is to take on, clients, businesses, enterprises, large scale companies down to a small business, and communicate their message. So it's not just building assets, logos, and websites. It's actually building the assets, deploying them so we can turn their $1 into $2, or take their awareness that's nothing into something. Whatever basically keeps our clients up at night, we want to solve those problems. So that's kind of my trajectory from, just doing some graphic design here and there. And then now I own it. So I'm not doing any design. The only design I do is for, myself or for my wife or something like that.
So you basically just went from average to savage.
I did exactly what your podcast says to do. So I just follow the Average to Savage blueprint by Paul Guarino, and you'll see success every time.
So wait, going back though, I know you went to college. At what age were you? I know you went back like later, and I just want to know what the reason was behind that.
Early 30s. So I think it was like 31 or something. And I just remember thinking, like, I got to get my shit together. I am just taking odd jobs. I was working like selling satellite dishes and selling memberships to random things. I was doing loss mitigation in the mortgage industry, just stuff that I didn't enjoy. Like, I like selling, I like talking on the phone, but I wanted to sell something that was mine, and I didn't even thought I wanted to sell. I was just taking jobs, man, and it wasn't, and then you when you take jobs, you're just getting paid, and you never really, and if I worked my way up at any of those jobs, I knew that it wouldn't be something that I would, it would be sustainable. I knew that I needed to have something of my own. And so I just kind of said, what is the one thing that I've been doing for years that I enjoy doing? And it was graphic design. So I was like, well, I'm going to double down on that. So then when I was living in Sarasota at the time, and I said, well, I will either go to the Ringling College of the Arts, which is in Sarasota, Florida, and spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go to college and learn how to use Adobe, or I will go to North Idaho College, where I'm from, and spend $30,000 and learn how to use Adobe. So I chose to go to North Idaho College and spend less money and have less student debt. And that's what I did. I spent 3 years, and I really took it seriously. When I went to school, there were a lot of people that go to school, and it really, if I interject any kind of lesson into my college years, your degree does not matter. It matters what you get out of your learning. Like I went to college to learn. I went to college to learn the tools so I could apply them in the real world. And there's so many people that went with me, and they're just like doodling, and they're doing things that don't make money, or they're doing things they don't love, and they're just trying to get a job after college, which is fine. But I went in there with a purpose. And when I went there, I excelled. Like, I excelled so much. I was getting scholarships in college and winning awards, and it was awesome. And that's not why I did it, but I just really applied myself. And when I got out, I kept that mentality, and now here I am with a cool business with so much more, so many more things that I'd like to do, and even things I don't know what I want to do. I'm still trying to figure that out. So pretty much living in a constant state of discontentment sometimes, but I think that sometimes that's good because it pushes you not to be stagnant, but it's also bad because it's hard to find that level of normalcy or peace,
Yeah. And I think obviously since you were older, you were hungrier than, like, say, an 18-year-old in college.
Right. Yeah. I've already gone through all the bullshit.
Exactly.
I didn't need to go to parties at night. I mean, I still did, but I didn't need to. And it wasn't like everything to me.
Yeah. And then also going back, could you tell me, like, the story on how you basically created the original Beast Mode shirt?
Oh, yeah, the Marshawn Lynch story?
Yeah.
Well, I really liked it. So I'm a Buffalo Bills fan in my heart. I love the Bills. I've loved the Bills since I was a little child. So I was like, since I was 6 years old. I'm not even talking about it because I'm not going to let this. So, yeah, but I was a Buffalo Bills fan since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I just loved them. And the irony of it all is I liked them because of their logo. It was weird. I just thought the logo was cool. And they were playing. I'm actually a genuinely bandwagon fan. I joined the Bills fan base when they were one of the best in the league back in the day when they went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. The ones they lost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those are – so I joined then. And then obviously, then stayed a fan. Okay, so fast forward, Marshawn Lynch gets drafted to the Buffalo Bills along with Paul Posluszny. Two huge pickups, I thought, at the time. And I loved Marshawn. I loved his attitude. Loved everything about him. He was my favorite player of all time. And I was like, when I started getting into design, he'd already been on the team a couple of years. And I was like, well, he had this thing in Buffalo that he called Beast Mode, and it was not viral yet. It was not anything. Nobody knew about it other than the Bills fan base. He would talk about it a little bit. I'm sure Cal knew about it, his college, but it wasn't like this big thing yet. And I was like, well, I'm going to make a Beast Mode shirt. So, cause I think that's awesome. So I designed this Beast Mode shirt, and in the middle of my design, Marshawn Lynch got traded to the Seahawks, which in my football world devastated me, cause I hate the Seahawks, but I love Marshawn Lynch. And, he goes to the Seahawks. So I changed the colors of my shirt. And I guess the benefit is I live 5 hours from Seattle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, this will be cool. So I created the shirts and I made them all Seahawk colors. And I started selling them online on my big cartel site that, you just throw up a store real quick. Mm-hmm. I went all in. I spent $2,000 of my own money, like printing the shirts. I had all stacks of inventory in my spare bedroom of Beast Mode shirts, thinking I'm going to sell them. I sold nothing. Nobody bought my shirts. Nobody cared. And I just kind of gave up, and I had all this inventory, and I was like really bummed. And I started like randomly promoting them when I felt like it. And I was just like, gosh, this sucks. I eventually tagged Marshawn Lynch on Twitter, and then I remember I was in Sarasota sitting in a parking lot, and someone called me, and it's Marshawn Lynch's marketing agent from Octagon Sports. His name was Devin Lacert. Yep. And he calls me, and he talks about that Marshawn had saw the shirts and he liked them. And I'm thinking at that point, oh, they're going to tell me to stop. That sucks. Yeah. This is over with. Or they're going to sue me, because I didn't know anything about how that worked. And he goes, no, he likes them. We just want a cut of your sales. And I go, oh, how much? And they said 20%. So I said, okay, well, send me the agreement, but hold on real quick. So I called a friend of mine who's way better at business than I am. And he told me to negotiate. So I did. I didn't negotiate the number. What I did was I told Marshawn Lynch's agent, and I said, I just want Marshawn to guarantee that he'll promote the shirts on his Twitter account and that he'll sign 100 shirts for me that I can sell. And he was like, deal, done. And I was like, sweet. And then after that, Marshawn's Twitter account back then started promoting the Beast Mode shirts, which he wasn't selling, nor did he have a brand for it. Mm-hmm. He wasn't doing any of this yet. I was the only Beast Mode apparel available that was exclusively under license. It wasn't an exclusive contract, but it was the only one that he was promoting at the time. So I felt pretty awesome at the time. And of course, I got the follow from Marshawn, which led to more follows from other NFL celebrities and people in the NFL network, and got me some great connections such as Mike Silver and Warren Sapp and all these different NFL entities and Walter Jones and all this kind of things. It's pretty cool. They don't know, we're not like buddies, but yeah, we were connected because of it. It was pretty cool because I would send them shirts and they would want the shirts and it would get promoted and everybody would be like, Marshawn, I want your shirts. And he'd be like, sweet, go to SeeJepp. And they'd go to me and I would send them shirts and we'd have like Twitter message conversations. And then Mike Silver reached out to me because he was a Cal alum and he wanted a shirt, Beast Mode shirt. So him and I became actual friends where Mike Silver had me out to Seattle for a football game and Monday night, or like a football game in Seattle where I hung out with Mike Silver for a little bit. It was a very reputable reporter at the NFL Network, hung out in which we would exchange text messages of Mike Silver giving Beast Mode shirts to Robert Kraft and Aaron Rodgers and all this kind of stuff. And it was a pretty cool moment in my life. And I didn't make a ton of money, but I made a lot of great contacts and I will never really be able to distinguish the ROI of it. I just know it did something for me. And I thought that was pretty cool. And what's funny about that, talking about it, the 100 shirts that I wanted Marshawn to sign, we never actually followed through with that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I remember that.
Yeah. So long story ending is Marshawn ended up breaking off and making his own Beast Mode brand, which is thriving today, which is awesome. I think it's great. It's not because of me at all. I'm sure it was part of the plan, but he just kind of did his own thing. And my Beast Mode era with my partnership with Marshawn Lynch ended. However, I think that's a pretty cool time in my life. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. Did you ever get to meet him?
No, I did not. I wanted to, but I just could never arrange it.
Yeah. We'll make it happen one day.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he's not that interested in leading me, but
Wow, you technically have the original Beast Mode shirt.
Yeah, because I know he ordered some from me. He didn't pay for them, but he didn't just want a few for him. I sent him like 20-something shirts for him and his family, all on me.
Yeah,
so hopefully he still has them. If any of the Marshawn Lynch team or posse or his entourage or his friends or his agents or him are listening right now, I'd love to see one of those shirts because I don't even think I have one. I may have one.
I think I still have it somewhere.
You should post a picture.
Yeah, and then I think that's actually, I believe, how I found you, because I was searching.
Marshawn?
Yeah, because I was searching for Beast Mode shirts, and then I liked the design, and then that's when I reached out to you, and then I remember I bought one, and then you were doing the giveaway thing. This is funny too, because it's like before everyone does giveaways now, and it's like a normal thing now, but it wasn't then. And then I remember I predicted the score of the Super Bowl, and that's how I won the second shirt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then that it was the exact score, so I was crazy. It was the Giants Patriots Super Bowl. I think it was the second one. Yeah, or maybe the second one. I don't know. Yeah. So
basically, because of Marshawn Lynch's Beast Mode shirts, we're talking right now.
Pretty much.
It's freaking awesome, dude.
Yeah. So then that's how I wanted to get into next is like, when I contacted you to make the PG Sports logo, I wanted to know what your process was like to make that. I know it's like 8 years ago now, but
the PG Sports logo?
Yeah.
Oh, just time, man. And, just a normal process of putting together what you wanted, listening to you, what the brand was about. Anytime you create a brand or a logo, it's never about the art. It is about the art, but it's more about, look, you could be successful with any logo you want as long as you're doing the right things and you're passionate about your brand and you're moving forward. You're moving forward with it. You can be successful with anything. So the important thing when you're going to design a brand or do a new brand or you're going to create a company, you want a logo, is make sure that your artist or your designer or your artist is listening to you as to what it means to them, because they're the ones that are going to have to listen. They're going to ones that have to see the logo every single day. They're going to have to look at their website. They have to feel empowered by their brand. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously great creative and great art goes into it. And that should go without saying. Anytime you're going to hire or take on a creative to do some work on a brand, you want to make sure they're good. You want to make sure their art is good, but most of it, are they listening to you? And that's what I did, man. So you wanted something, you were a hustler, you're trying to start your brand, starting something that is now super awesome and like growing, and your following is super loyal. It's still your love is still rocking, it's still doing well, and it makes you happy. And all I did was just listen to you. You know what I mean? And listen to what you wanted, and still to this day, hopefully, when you look at it, you love it, and it empowers you to continue to go. And it's you now. It's a part of you. So that's what I did. I listened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even remember what 19-year-old Paul said, but yeah, it came out dope. And obviously, because I'm still using it 8 years later.
Yeah, you've done so many cool things with it. You've what I love too is you've taken the same concept and then you've made like different colors. You've done camo. You've done all these different things, and you've had me come in on some of those occasions to redesign it, just do the color variations of it. One of my favorite PG Sports shirts is that camo one, even though it's not camo, it's that green, but
Yeah.
It was cool. I liked it. Probably the PG Sports shirt I wear the most is one I didn't even make. The Blood, Sweat, and Success.
Oh my God, that's like the best selling one.
Really, yeah.
Everyone, and actually, I don't know if you saw it. Like, kind of pissed me off this year when The Rock came out with Blood. Well, he already had Blood, Sweat, Respect, but they pretty much made the exact same design.
Yeah.
In the triangle with his logo in the middle.
You can send Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, a cease and desist and see what happens.
Yeah, that won't probably go over well. Well, it's really Under Armour, but yeah.
Yeah, man, but that'll happen all the time, Well, no, I also remember the breast cancer stuff that you were doing. People were copying. Like,
that was a college.
Copying the pixel for pixel.
Yeah, they copied your design that you made for
crazy,
me.
Right?
Yeah, that one was weird. That was like a year later too.
Yeah, they just didn't even try to change it.
Yeah, that was weird. I just saw it randomly too. It just like That was weird. All right. So I know you kind of already touched on it, but what was it like starting your own company? I know originally it was SeeJepp Studios.
Yeah, it was scary, man. You just got to take those chances and step out, because a lot of times you're doing it with little to no help or advice. And I would say now is some of the best investments you can make if you're going to start a company is hiring somebody that has some great perspective. I think a lot of times when we start a business, we devalue actual advice and we just value commodity. So like a commodity would be like, I need a website and a logo, and I need a building and an office and a desk. Like those are all things that you can get anywhere, right? So we spend all our money there. Yeah. I think your best bet is always to hire strategy and direction. Like, okay, I'm going to start a business. How should I do this? Where should I do it? What's my goal for 5 years? And should I have employees or should I not? You start planning ahead. I mean, I did not do that right at the beginning. I was winging it, and I was just busy, and I was just learning. Basically, everything I've learned in my industry and in my business has been by trial and error the hard way, and I do not recommend it. Eventually, I did wise up. I hired a business coach to help me, who I still meet with every week. And that business coach, it cost me $32,000 to hire. And I did not have $32,000 laying around. As a matter of fact, I was stressing, bro. Like, I did not know, but I knew absolutely the value of it was very essential. And I did it. I pulled that trigger. And I think as a business owner, whether it be day one of your business or day or year 50, you're going to constantly make decisions that are going to scare you and that are going to stretch you. Just like today, man, like me and my wife we made a big purchase on some things that we wanted for our home. And it was really hard because you're like, gosh, like I spent like X amount of money, and you spend $1,000 on this purchase. And you're like, gosh, that's $1,000 I could have used for something else. Or, man, and for me, sometimes by doing those things or making those scary steps, it kind of makes the fishbowl bigger. You know what I mean? And if you know that analogy, a fish will grow to the size of its fishbowl, right? So you could put like a fish in a small bowl, it'll just stay the same size. You put it in a pool, it'll get as big as it wants, And so that's the concept. When you stretch yourself and you take risks, and hopefully calculated risks, with advice and strategy tied behind it, and just being stupid, but it's also so scary. You'll grow into that, and I like that. I like that today I made a purchase that we wanted to make, and we're like, okay, now my goal now is to make that money back. Put that money back in the account. Now I have a goal to go for, and so that's what it feels like to start a business, and that's what it feels like at day one, and sometimes that's what it feels like right now, as a matter of fact. And then you have to fight, also not burnout, but you have to fight like stagnancy. I think if you're not taking risk and you're not scaring yourself, then you can just get stagnant. And I've been there as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you on that stuff too. And just like when you make like a ton of small purchases and you don't really think it's that much money, and then it all adds up. But when you make a big purchase, you're like, oh shit.
Or you hire your first employee. And
or that.
You're like, oh damn, I gotta pay this employee, $60,000 this year, and somehow, and they're expecting their payouts every 2 weeks. And, You know what I mean? So it's a tough one.
So going into that, what advice would you give someone starting a brand or a company?
I would say it goes with what I already said. I'd say make sure that if you want to start a brand or a company, make sure it's what you love to do. And I would say that if you're going to do it, make sure it doesn't feel like work. Make sure you're fired up to do it. And make sure that it also, I'd say right now, a piece of advice, make sure it gives back to you. And if that doesn't mean monetary return, then make sure it gives back to you in fulfillment in regards to like, hey, I did this today and I wanted to do it and it was awesome and it makes me feel awesome to do this. I'd say that's very, very important. I'd say if you're just trying to wing it and make money just and start any business, like if you're wanting to, anything, you want to sell tires, and you hate tires and you hate the automotive, but it's a hot market, I'd say that's a bad choice, no matter the market. If the market's hot and people want tires, as long as you're motivated, if you're motivated by money, I guess that'll work for you, but that won't last very long. I just say make sure you love it.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that one. All right, I got some fun questions for you. They're going to go from average to savage.
Okay, fun question.
All right, so what's your favorite song right now?
My favorite song?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going to look at my Spotify real quick. I'll just tell you the song that's in my head right now that I've been listening to the past few days. I've been liking, first of all, I've been listening to a lot of 2 Feet, and that's TWOFEET, and I like his music. But the song that I've been listening to today and the other day, and just in my head, is called Vincent by Ellie Goulding. It's called Vincent.
Okay, I heard of the artist. I haven't heard of the song.
Yeah, pretty cool. Pretty mellow.
Actually, yeah, what I'm about to do in 2020 is launch the website for the podcast, and then everyone that answered that, I'm going to make the playlist for it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That sounds awesome. Well, make sure you put my favorite band on there, too.
All right.
Cigarettes After Sex is my favorite band.
All right, and then what about for 2020 fantasy football? I know you're a big fantasy football guy. Who would be your first round pick?
2020 next year?
Yeah, if you get the first pick overall.
Next year. That's a good one. I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
No, I'm not going to say that. Did you know I traded Lamar Jackson for Sammy Watkins right before week 2?
Oh, this year?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Sammy blew up at 42 points, and I lost Tyreek Hill to an injury. And I had Tom Brady, too. I'm like, Lamar and Tom Brady, they'll just wash it about 5 points. Not the case at all. Well, that's a tough question. If I were to first overall, I won't say McCaffrey either because I don't trust his third year. But I would say maybe Mark Ingram.
All right.
You know what? Yeah, I'll say Mark Ingram.
All right. And what about, can you give me 3 artists or like brands that like inspired you over the years?
Russell Brand.
All right.
That's true. And artists or brands. Dr. Joe Dispenza.
All right.
And I'm trying to think of a brand and not so much of a person. It inspires me. What's that? Oh, yeah. I have Goat Minded. That inspires me. No, but I will just say who I always say, Gary Vaynerchuk.
Okay. I thought you were going to say, what's his name? The cupcake guy. Johnny Cupcakes. Johnny
Cupcakes? Yeah. I actually haven't talked or connected or even went to that Johnny Cupcake site in like years. I'm completely disconnected from that.
Gotcha. All right. Last one.
I don't want to, though.
Oh, all right. And last one, if you weren't running your own company, what do you think you'd be doing?
Like if I can make believe what I want to do or like what's practical?
Both.
Okay, if I can make believe what I would be doing, I'd be an actor and a musician.
All right.
I would need to learn how to be a musician. I'd probably be an actor. Let's just say actor. That's my secret desire. So if you're listening to this podcast and you want to take a chance on a really charismatic, articulate speaker to be in your new film, hit me up. If I were to be practical, I would want to be a therapist.
All right, I could definitely see that.
Oh, that's nice of you. Thanks.
The actor, I mean, I could see that too. It would just have to, obviously, you start somewhere and you rise up.
Yeah, man. But you said I could make believe, so I'm already successful.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. And can you let the people know where they can follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Corey Michael Alice on Instagram. Just spell it out, Corey Michael Alice. That's all I need. Just go to that one place and you can find everything from there.
All right. Again, I appreciate it. And we'll be talking.
All right, Paul.
Thanks, all right. See you. Have a good one.